Worship is only a practice of the worshipper. Though it is addressed to God, God remains elusive there. Elusive. Am I clear or not? This elusiveness we have to break, and we have to give a concrete form and a shape to it. So this is how you have to proceed. And bhaktya ekaya isham guru devatatma. You have to worship Lord. Guru devatatma ekaya bhaktya. It is a kind of a singular, exclusive devotion, an all-engulfing devotion. Nothing remains separate from God. Everything is God, including my body, including my mind, including my intelligence, including my ego, the Panchabhutas, and all the things born of the Panchabhutas, all become God and God alone. And I am going to be connected to Him through my attitude, through my thought, through my feeling, through my fondness, through my affinity, through my attunement, an unbroken relationship. How beautifully it is presented. Bhaktya gayesham guru devatatma bhayam dvidiya bhiniveshatasyat. So as devotees, our worship should be aimed at what? In my understanding, in my perception, in my realization, in my assessment, there should be nothing but God. Only God. So my dear God, take away from my mind the feeling that there is something more. Something besides you, something besides you, something besides myself. That feeling of the second should disappear from me. Then only I will become fearless. In Brihadaranyaka, there is a conversation between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi. Actually, this particular statement is a reflection from that. Yatrahi dvaidamiva bhavati tadidara idaram jigradi tadidara idaram pashyadi tadidara idaram shrunodi tadidara idaram abhivadadi tadidara idaram manude tadidara idaram vijanati. Maitreyi, Yajnavalkya tells his wife in response to her enquiry. I don't know whether I should tell you the story. Yajnavalkya had two wives. One was Katyayini, another was Maitreyi. So he became a little advanced. He decided that my role as a householder is over. So he called both of them and said, I am going to divide my property to both of you. Equal division. Katyayini was very happy. I don't know whether you will fall into that category. She was very happy. She did not say anything. And I am going away. Maitreyi intercepted. My dear Lord, what are you saying? You have been living in our company so long. You are very beloved to us. We are also very dear to you. And now you say, you are dividing the property between both of us equally and you go away. You don't want any property? No. I don't find anything in this. All these are perishable and mortal. I am interested in something immortal and imperishable. So to contemplate upon it and to be inebriate with it in a greater measure, in a more continuous measure, I am going away to steep myself in spiritual inward contemplation, he said. What are you going to contemplate upon? That means this property and possession are of no avail. No, don't you know? Every property remains away from us. Does anything get glued into us? Huh? These are simple questions but very important. Your house, when you go, does it come along with you? Huh? Everything remains outside. Whether it is father, mother, wife, husband, child, brother, sister, everything is separate. Is there any physical object which will enter into your mind to give an experience? So the mind is left alone. So you say, I possess. You possess nothing. Nothing can be possessed, either by the body or by the mind. Still we say we possess. Don't you think it's an illusion? It is foolery, ignorance. So I am going away. What will you contemplate upon? I will contemplate upon the self, the supreme self. Because in that contemplation and the resulting wisdom alone, life's fulfillment consists, he said. So can it only be for you? Will you not tell me of that inner spiritual splendor and treasure? Yes. And he started the conversation. And as part of the conversation relevant to our subject, I say, Yatrahi dvaidamiva bhavati. where you have an inkling that there appears to, mark the expression, Dvaitam iva bhavati. There is actually nothing like many. Many are not there. Only one is there. You see the earth. Are you seeing the earth? Or are you seeing a mental imprint of the earth? Thoda boliye na. All of you are seated in my front. Am I seeing you, or my mind forms an imprint of all of you and I experience this mental imprint? So where is the physical object? In all the imprints of the mind, do you have a content other than the mind? So where are two? Huh? Answer me, my dear souls. You cannot escape this. You cannot escape this. You may say, it is my child, this book is there, all right. I see it, I touch it, I feel it in the presence of light. If there is no light, I will not see. If there are no eyes, I will not see. And even when I experience it as a mental presence. Am I correct or not? Yes. My mind may form an imprint of an elephant, a horse. It may form an imprint of a mountain. Do you mean to say the mountain is inside me? The horse is inside? The elephant is inside? No. All are imprints. In all the imprints of the mind, the substance is the mind alone. So in this world, is there any plurality? This is devotion, my dear souls. Pashyati, sees another. Sridoti, hears another. Abhivadati, compliments another. Manude, he starts thinking about another. Idaram vijanati, he knows. So the question of seeing, hearing, thinking, knowing another arises. Only in the context of two. Only in the context of two. Are you with me? Yes. The two is an idea. It is an apprehension. It is a notion. As the mind produces the idea of two, it goes into the genesis of the two idea and understands that everything is only the inner consciousness. So when everything becomes the one, the self, yatrava asya sarvam atmaiva bhud. I am referring to a number of objects in this world, the Panchabhutas also, but these are only references made by my mind to what? Mind's own notions, mind's own imprints. समझते हैं क्या? Huh? When I refer to the earth, am I referring to the earth or am I referring to the idea in my mind about earth? All ideas are mental. And these ideas alone I transact with. I never transact with anything at all. If I have no senses, the world will never be colorful, shapeful. Huh? My eyes make things colorful and shapeful. My eardrum makes everything soundful. My nose makes everything smellful. It is my senses that color the world. And the world does not color me. Huh? Does it color us? We color. The entire color proceeds from the mind, falls in the mind. And does the mind become colorful? When I see a green color, does the mind become green? Think of a mirror. I show a red carpet before it. And it appears to be all red. But does the glass, colorless glass, ever become red? Show a green carpet, it will reflect the green. All the reflections are shown. But the mirror never changes. In the same manner, my mind senses a number of things in this world. So many sensations are there. All these sensations are produced, felt, reflected, radiated perhaps by the mind. But the mind never becomes any one of these at any time. When you think of your son, do you become your son? Boliye na thoda. You don't become. Then what is it happening here? What is it happening? Yatra asya sarvam atmaiva bhud. When everything becomes that subject self. Tat khenakam jigre. By whom? What will be smelt? By whom or by what? What will be seen? What will be heard? Yatrava asyam sarvamatmaiva bhud tat kenakam jigret tat kenakam pashyet tat kenakam shrunuyat tat kenakam abhivadet tat kenakim manvida tat kenakam vijaniyat. So where is here something as object to be known by the subject? My subjective mind alone produces all these objective gross imprints. Am I clear? थोड़ा सुनिए ना अच्छी तरह. The mind is inside the body. It is very sukshma, very subtle. When the subtle mind produces a gross image, is there any grossness there? Huh? Can I trust you? The mind is inside the body, and the inner mind is producing the gross reflections. So when it produces a gross reflection, when I see a mountain, do you mean to say the mountain is inside me? Huh? Then my body will break. But nevertheless, my mind produces and gives you the experience of the mountain. So it is the mind's magic, mind's potential, mind's unique power. The consciousness is unique power. So all these things can become the singular self, the singular spiritual presence. In that case, what can be seen by whom? What can be heard by whom? What can be complimented by whom? What can be smelt? What can be touched? What can be known? Ultimately, there is only one thing that is within you, the consciousness, the cognizer, the comprehender, the realizer, the experiencer, the feeler, the knower. इससे अधिक कुछ है क्या? बोलिए ना थोड़ा सोचकर. You may not reach here day after tomorrow, but at least say this now. There is nothing. This is the grand discovery of India. Grand discovery of India. Yenedam sarvam vijanadi tam kena vijaniyat vijnataramare kena vijaniyat idi. So there is nothing here to be known. There is nothing here to be felt. It's all inside the one singular consciousness, that inner spiritual splendor. It is not a light, visual light. It's not a sound, an auditory sound. It is a direct inner perception, not depending upon the senses, but it can only be conveyed by articulation, words. Words of the knower of truth will alone be able to give you this idea. And listening to these words, you will have to comprehend it yourself with the help of the Guru. That is what you have to do. Bhayam dvidiya bhiniveshadasya ishadavedasya viparyayo asmritihi tanmayayato buddha abhajetam bhaktyaikayesham gurudevatatma. Shall I take up the next words? Are you with me? Wonderful statement. Both Bhagavatams and your own statement. Yes, you said, is it not? Wonderful. Avidyamano'pyavabhadihi dvayo dhyadurdhiya swapnamanorathau yatha tat karma sankalpa vigalpagam mano budho nirundhyat abhayam tadasyat. What a wonderful statement. You know, I always say, whenever I read, I happen to know about these statements, the feeling I have is, on a new moon day, suddenly at midnight, 1,000 full moons arise in the sky. Wow! Kitna prakash hoga aur kitna sundar. Wow! This is what I feel always. Avidyamano'pyavabhadihi dvayo dhyadurdhiya swapnamanorathau yatha. Perhaps many of you would not have known that Srimad Bhagavatam is this kind of a wonderful subject elucidating talk. Subject elucidating means elucidating or enlightening about this subject inside your body. It speaks about the potential of your mind, the potential of your intelligence, and the wonderful infinitude of the ego. This is all what Srimad Bhagavatam represents and discusses. Avidyamano'pyavabhati hidvayo dhyadurdhiya swapnamanorathau yatha. Avidyamanaha, complete expression. The entire objectude, the gross things including the grossness of your body, all of this that you are seeing, the surrounding world, the world objects, avidyamanaha, they are not existing at all. Avabhadi, but nevertheless they shine, make themselves felt. Make themselves? How? Dvayodhyadurdhiya swapnamanorathau yatha. In the same manner as swapna and manoratha. Swapna means dream. Manoratha means daydream, imagination. There is only one mind. And it suddenly slips into dream during sleep. When it slips into dream, what all things you see? A parallel world. If there is a God to create the world, the mind creates God to create its world. Is it not? Why? Yes or no? Yes. You are Indians, mind you. You are holy individuals born in this holy land. I want you to respond to me from that Indianhood, that cultural patriotism, that cultural identity. Every one of you is carrying in you an age-old traditional refinement. I am telling you what our forefathers discussed. They realized, they imbibed, they disseminated. A text written 1400 years back, even now is present before us without a change of a syllable in it. And people are dying to read it, dying to read it. Sometimes people, the English knowing population of India, Delhi, are very poor mentally. When there is a Srimad Bhagavatam exposition, you should wind up everything and come there and listen to it. It is so elevating, so rare also. What wonderful words of nectar are there. I have not written in English anything about Bhagavatam. Nevertheless, a lecture has been written out. It's called Drops of Nectar. You will find a synopsis of the entire Bhagavatam there. Drops of nectar. That is what Srimad Bhagavatam is. Swadu swadu pade pade, swadu swadu dine dine. And also I said, it is delicious word after word, day after day. It's also a challenge, a test paper for intellectuals, I said. See how things are explained. Avidyamanaha avabhadihi dvayo. The entire plurality, the duality. In reality, it is not in existence. But nevertheless, it shines, it is revealed, it is displayed. By what? For what reason? Dhyaduhu dhiya. Dhiya means by virtue of the intelligence of whom dhyata, the perceiver. Whatever is perceiving in us, what is perceiving in you? Is it the body that perceives? Or employing the body, the inside factor, the consciousness that perceives? So that perceiving consciousness, because of it, that buddhi, dhyatuhu dhiya, swapna manorathau yatha. Just like you wake up, and when you wake up, you perceive the world. Suppose you don't wake up, wakefulness does not settle in you. Will you ever be able to see the world? An expectant mother had a child. She was very happy. In spite of it, after having fondled the child, she becomes fatigued. She goes to sleep. The child will be there. But once she sleeps, is there a mother? Is there a child? Why? And how many hours do you sleep? 7 or 8 hours. I don't know whether you sleep more. 1/3 of the day at least we are sleeping. And when we wake up, who wakes us up? The world wakes us up, or we wake up to the world? Boliye na thoda. We wake up to the world. This is what is happening. The world doesn't wake me up. When I wake up, I start flowing through the different channels called the senses. and the entire multiplicity of the world, when it comes to me, I make it fivefold. Am I clear? Yes. Fivefold. What are they? Sights, sounds, smells, tastes and touches. The world may be infinitely plural, but for me to experience, it becomes simply the infinite plurality is telescoped into fivefold sensations. And when they go to the mind, these five also get reduced into two, pleasant or unpleasant. And when I go into sleep, oh bhi nahi hai. समझते हैं क्या? Do you accept what I say? Or it's only Swamiji's statement? See, I wake up and I made the plurality. I go to sleep wiping the plurality. And in dream, I cause a parallel plurality elsewhere. What more do you want to understand the powers and potentials and the possibilities of your mind, my dear souls? Your mind is making the world. It is wiping off the world. It is creating an alternate world in the dream. See the potential of what is there. Dhyadurdhiya swapna manorathau yata. Therefore, what you should understand that it is all a jugglery, a display, a manifestation of your consciousness within you. And all the trouble is caused by tat karma sankalpa vikalpa gammano. Your mind is not just the mind, it's not a personal mind. If it were a personal mind, do you think it could create a dream world? In the waking state, you are part of the world. You cannot create a world. But the mind creates an altogether new world. So what is its capacity? Is it just encased in the body? Or the body is something like a drop in the ocean of the mind? Is the body held by the mind or the mind held by the body? Answer. Is the body held by the mind or the mind holds the body? Mind holds the body or body holds the mind? This is the truth and you understand it. This is not pratyaksha but paroksha. It is not a sensory perception. On the basis of the sensory perception, we are thinking, we are rationalizing, we are investigating and coming to the conclusion. In human life, pratyaksha and paroksha, both of them are equally important. Equally important. As are the sensory perceptions, so are our inferences, inductions and deductions. Very important. Tat karma sankalpa vikalpa gammano budho nirundhyat abhayam tadasyat. Mind is the one source from all activities proceed. All activities and interactions subsist on the mind. And they are also concluded and terminated in the mind. All the outcomes are remembered by the mind in its own stock as memory. So in the whole life is mind the real factor or body and the externals. मान लिया क्या? Now have your focus on the mind. Tat karma sankalpa vikalpa gammano budho nirundhyat. This is the mind that calls for restraint, calls for discipline, calls for reformation, calls for refinement, calls for expansion, calls for all kinds of purification. Have the focus on your mind. Let every day be a greater degree of purity and enrichment for the mind. Never allow a day to pass. I am not asking you to be successful or otherwise in the world outside. I say in your mind, every day should mark an additional degree of purity, enrichment and elevation. Is it possible or not? Budho nirundhyat abhayam tatasyat. When you are able to have a proper understanding of the mind and you can lay your hands on the mind, abhayam, we become fear-free. Abhayam tadasyat. The same idea Sri Krishna says in Hamsa Gita in the 11th skandha later on. I will tell you how beautifully it is put. Iksheda vibhramamidam manaso vilasam drishtam vinashtam adilola malada chakram വിജ്ഞാനമേകമുരുദേവ വിഭാതി മായ സ്വപ്നസ്ത്രിധ ഗുണവിസർഗകൃതോ വികൽപഃ.